What's an ADU? Today's construction clarity question is from Sarah in Dorado Hills, California. So ADU stands for Accessory Dwelling Unit, and if you haven't heard them called that, you may have heard them called granny flats or in-law quarters. Effectively, it's just a completely separate living space that's on your property, like a second home. Now, an ADU must have three things to be considered an ADU, and the first one is a bedroom, the second is a bathroom, and the third is a kitchen or a kitchenette. There are effectively three ways that you can construct an ADU. The most common is a detached unit, which is usually just a standalone building in the back of your house. You can also do an attached unit, and in this situation, it would be similar to an addition to your home, but it still just has the same three components: the bedroom, the bathroom, and the kitchen. And then the last way to build an ADU is to convert existing space into an ADU. Most people are doing this by either converting a garage or some other space like a basement. The average range of size for ADUs is anywhere from about 400 to 1,200 square feet, 1,200 actually being the maximum set by the state of California. But that being said, some jurisdictions actually max out a little bit more, and some of them a little bit less at around 1,000. So why are we seeing so many homeowners adding ADUs? I think the number one is probably multi-generational living. Maybe you've got an aging parent that you would like nearby, or maybe you have an adult child that needs their own space, but you still want them close. A second reason we see people wanting ADUs is actually for rental income, because it's actually completely legal in the state of California to rent your ADU for rental income. Now, as long as you have the three components of an ADU, once it's built, you can use it for really anything that you see fit, such as a studio or a home office. There are a lot of people that actually don't realize that their building setbacks may have actually been modified under the current state law to make ADUs more feasible. For example, if you had somebody come out and tell you before that you have a 10-foot side yard setback and maybe a 30-foot rear yard setbacks, those setbacks now may be 4 feet instead of 10, and also 4 feet instead of 30. So while you may have been told years ago that you didn't have the ability to do this on your property, you might be able to now. The reality is that almost every lot in the greater Sacramento area has some scenario where an ADU can be built. So it may take a little creativity, but it's still likely that you can do it. Now, here's the thing. ADUs still require building permits. There's some other things that they require, and every jurisdiction is a little bit different about what you can and can't do. However, the state does mandate that each jurisdiction at least give you a reasonable accommodation to build an ADU on your lot. Our pre-construction process helps through this tremendously, because we can help not only with the design, but we can help with the layout and maybe even creativity in terms of space and location for the ADU. We can also help with navigating the permits and all of the different requirements from the building department to figure out what's actually possible on your property before you spend a bunch of time and money on something that might not even work. So if you have questions about ADUs or want to know what's actually possible on your property, you can email us at info@ksquaredconstruction.com, and we'll answer your questions on construction clarity.